Right, good day and welcome to learning exercise 6.2, solving trig diagrams using trig ratios. 5 sine theta plus 4 equals 0. Theta is restricted to 0 degrees up to 270. Calculate the value of sine theta minus cos theta. Elementary because it's grade 10 work. First we have to know our trig ratios. So simplify 5 sine theta. If I take 4 cross, must become minus 4. And then sine theta then equal minus 4 divided by that 5. So what I've given to you, sine theta is y over r. So I'm saying y is negative 4 and r is 5. So we must first find x using theorem of Pythagoras. Right. Secondly, we have to note in which quadrant we are working. So sine theta is negative in quadrant 3. Remember, they can quadrant 1 to 3. There's 0. 90, 182, 270. Our restrictions going from 0 to 270, so their sign is negative. So my x value I find here using theorem of Pythagoras must also be negative. So restriction third quadrant. So I use x squared equal r squared minus y squared. 5 squared minus 4 squared. 25 minus 16 gives me 9. Square root of 9 plus or minus x equal negative 3, x not equal to positive 3. So take note, third quadrant, x is always negative. Alright, so be careful there. They want us to solve sine theta minus cos theta. So now sine is y over r minus cos theta, which is x over r. So y over r, my y value is minus 4. My r value is 5 minus my x value, which is minus 3, and my r value is 5. So minus 4 minus minus become positive. Minus 4 plus 3 gives me minus 1 over 5. Alright. Can also test you just to refresh your mind. Now we say if 10p equals p and p is less than 270 and greater than 0, determine the values first of 1 minus cos squared p and sine p minus 10p. So first we need to know our trig ratios to know which sides are given. Remember, from geometry or from fractions, p can be expressed as p over 1. So that 10 is giving me y and x value. So my y is equal to p. My x value is equal to 1. Right, so we have to find r using theorem of Pythagoras. Then our restrictions say from 0 to 270. Sine there is given as positive, so sine is positive in the third quadrant, right? Or I can draw sine positive in the first quadrant. Doesn't really matter, right? 0 to 270. So my r value, r squared equal x squared plus y squared minus 1 squared plus p squared. That gives me 1 plus p squared, square root of that. Square root 1 plus p squared. Remember, r cannot be negative. Right? Now we require to solve 1 minus cos and sine things. So 1 minus cos. 1 minus, my cos is always x over r. As you can see, my x value is minus 1 and my r value is 1 plus p squared, square root of that. So there. 1 minus 1 over square root 1 plus p squared all squared. That simply becomes that negative times square, negative 1 times negative 1, positive 1. That simply becomes 1 plus p squared minus. If I simplify it further, 1 can be expressed with the same denominator so that we can add the two fractions. Then that becomes 1 minus 1, which cancels, and I'm left with p squared over 1 plus p squared. If I do sine p minus 10p, that's sine y over r, so that would be p over square root 1 plus p squared, and t is minus p over minus 1. Right, making my denominators the same, I multiply that by square root 1 plus p squared. What I do at the bottom, I also do on top. So if I simplify, I have p minus p, square root 1 plus p squared all over 1 plus p squared. So those are basic trig diagrams. Our exam question for trigonometry starts with trig diagrams. Make sure you revise it and you know all three ways of doing it. God bless. All the best.